Why, hello, everyone. It's a sports algorithm podcast. Get ready to talk and and take a look at some interesting data. So I did some work on the WNBA algorithm because this is pretty cool. There are not so many games that it's too overwhelming. And I watched a game tonight, last night, really being Friday night on the 23rd. And this was an excellent game. This Dallas Wings versus we'll get there eventually. They lost to the Los Angeles Sparks. And they lost 74-76, but it was an excellent game, a game that had a low margin. And I was like, well, if we reorganize this data a little bit, we start to be able to answer some questions about how our algorithm would have done historically, like throwing all the stats in and regressively taking a look at what the history was. And it made me realize that we picked Dallas a lot and we're only 5-6 with them. We do better with other teams like the Sun. We've been 7-3. The Liberty, we've chosen them 9 times. We've gone 8-1. The Aces, we've chosen 9 times. They've won all 9. Mystics, we've picked them 7 times, and they go 6-1. Sparks, 5-5. Now, this is retroactively putting in the current stats and this new variable distribution. This is not what I always had going day by day. This is not the way it actually looked. If you went back and looked at every day I did a video and every day I updated it, it was not this history. This is a new history based on new numbers and current stats. How retroactively, how good would it have done if we had all that information now when we're looking back at the games? It's very interesting to look at it this way. Because it gives you more security on which teams you do better with. And notice it doesn't have teams like the Fever or the Mercury or anybody. It's almost never picking them in this scenario now that we're like 12 games or something into the season. And so very interesting to look at this because it's just going to be helpful when you're looking day to day. So, for example, on Friday, the Liberty crushed it. They won. We got the exact points correct for their opponent in this game, the Lynx, but they end up outscoring and scoring like 110 points today on Friday. So anyway, Dallas doesn't do it, but point is this is really interesting to look at this way. So now you've got the Saturday's game. It's of course the Aces against somebody. They're going to be against the Fever. And the Fever have some slight injuries based on this early morning injury report for Saturday the 24th. So it says the Aces are going to win by a lot. There's no lines and no spread yet. So it's not going to figure out if they're covering the spread because we don't know what the spread is yet. But you can guarantee it's going to be a lot of points because that's a huge margin for the Aces. It says the Storm, much lower margin against the Mercury, and the questions about Brittany Griner playing or not because she's a game time decision would weather in here in this. We don't know if she's playing or not. So point is, this is pretty cool to glance at everything this way, to look at the whole season, to see which teams will do well. And anyway, so this is a nice new look, and you can expect some cool views of these games because it's doing some interesting things. And now we're getting a much deeper look at the season with the current stats and the proper distribution. So we'll see how WNBA continues to roll. MLB on Friday had kind of a choppy day. This is the results from Friday here. You know, couple big, like only 2 out of 4 of the big favorites won. You got Tampa Bay winning, got Toronto winning, Miami loses, and San Diego wins. We had Texas higher up. They win, but Atlanta loses. A shootout. All these teams blew leads, actually. Think about it. So I don't think that's that bad for the algorithm. You had some late leads being blown, and that stinks. So how about Saturday? This is what we have as a preliminary look right now. Does put Texas on top over the Yankees. Has some bigger favorites here. Then says Atlanta again. Says Arizona can do it against San Francisco tomorrow. And you got Boston, you got an underdog, Philadelphia. This is what the scoring looks like here. If you want to dig into the scoring, you care about runs. It's not perfect, but it's the best we got. Thanks, Tampa Bay will put up a lot of runs like they did yesterday, putting up like 13, right? Yeah, they put up 11, sorry. Put up 11. This was the game with 21 runs in Cincinnati. Unbelievable. So yeah, so there you go, guys. That is the update. If you want access to the Google Sheet, just become my friend, follow the link, sign up. I'll send you the access. You just have to have a Gmail address and I'll give you access to the Google Sheet. And you can stay current with what I post as we run the algorithms. They're pretty quick to run and they're not a big hassle. So I know they're not perfect and they're not current up to date with exact injuries and lineups all the time. That's never going to be the case. I shouldn't say that. I'll probably get automation working to some extent where things can continue to try to get more current, but they're pretty good. And for what it's trying to do, which is take an assessment of the game, it's doing what it's supposed to do, and hopefully it's helpful. All right, good luck. May all your picks be winning.